The ancient dragons have always been a mysterious piece of Elden Ring's lore. We know that they reside in crumbling Farum Azula, but their history stretches far back to a time before Queen Marika and the Golden Order. These dragons once attacked the capital, with Grandsax bringing calamity to their doorstep, making his strength the only thing to ever bring the walls of Leyndell toppling down. This act caused the war with the dragons, where Godwyn the Golden stepped up to become a hero, not through bringing death to his enemy, but by befriending him and bringing the ancient dragons into the fold. This was the birth of the ancient dragon cult, where Lansseax would give herself a human form, sharing her knowledge and providing the knights of the cult with the very lightning the ancient dragons wielded. However, as we now know, this is not the only strength bestowed on the people of the Lands Between by the ancient dragons. In an interesting turn, it seems Dragon Communion came from the ancient dragons as well, and the priestess who started it all awaits us at the bottom of the jagged peak, at a site which was likely the very first altar where people were able to partake in the consumption of the very heart of a dragon, or rather, a drake. Before we get into today's story, I wanted to take a minute to call out this week's sponsor on the channel, neonsigns.com. I really want to stress how impressed I am with the quality of this sign, as well as their pins. You can find these at gs-jj.com. And I highly recommend these to anyone in the market for a neon sign, or some leave-behinds for their business. The team at neonsigns.com offers over 10 types of personalized neon signs, such as engraved or printed neon signs, and completely customized signs like the one you're seeing right now. They offer 22 colors of LED neon tubes for your sign, and as you can see, we went with purple to match our logo. The remote control they come with gives you a ton of display options. Installation of these signs is incredibly easy, but mine's meant for the new office I'm building, so for now, you can see what it looks like behind my bar. Neonsigns.com offers worldwide delivery, so no matter where you are, you can have a sign made to your exact specifications. On top of signs, they also offer custom enamel pins, just like this one. You can choose from a variety of options, from soft and hard enamel pins to shiny, sandblast, antique, rainbow platings, and more. These things are great for brand recognition, and we're definitely going to give away some of our pins the next time we do any kind of in-person panels or anything like that. Take advantage of up to 50% off discounts on signs and up to 30% off pins by following the links below. With that said, let's get back to the story of the Dragon Priestess. As we make our way out of the Dragon's Pit, we fight against the jagged peak Drake. A taste of what's to come as we find ourselves at the bottom of this enormous mountain. Clearly, this is a place of dragons, and we must choose which direction to explore once the coast is clear. One of these paths leads directly up the mountain, where we encounter battles leading to a confrontation with a certain dread drake. But if we instead choose to explore the other end of this area, we find something incredible. There before us is the largest dragon that can be encountered anywhere in the Lands Between and the Land of Shadows, lying dead over a massive altar of Dragon Communion. We know this is the largest dragon around thanks to Zully the Witch, and we can even see it on our map when exploring the area. As magnificent as this sight is to behold, it seems this altar has someone standing before it. A humanoid dragon who wishes to speak with us about something enticing.
True. Picture yourself feasting upon a dragon's essence, on the throbbing heart of the oldest, vilest dragon of them all. It would be the purest form of communion, the fullest sating of your hunger and your consummation as a dragon whole.
We can then choose whether or not we're ready to learn more. If we're not, she says.
Perhaps you have yet to feel true want. I am patient. There will come a day when hunger knocks.
But if we are ready, she says.
As it should be. Now, seek the jagged peak. There you will find Bayle, the oldest and vilest of all dragons, land-bound warrior. Follow your desire and slay the foul beast. Devour its throbbing heart. I will grant you the strength required. In the name of my lord, Florissax.
She then bestows upon us an ancient dragon's blessing. Favor bestowed by the Dragon Communion Priestess in the name of the Dragon Lord Florissax. Each night the priestess offers her own sleep to her lord, and in turn, receives the power of his favor. It seems this power comes directly from Florissax, and through his priestess, we're able to make it our own. This calls to mind the story of Lanciax told in the incantation, Lanciax's Glaive. Incantation that channels the power of the ancient dragon Lanciax. Creates a red lightning glaive and sweeps the area from above. This attack unleashes trails of lightning. Lanciax was the sister of Florissax. It is said that she took the form of a human to commune with the knights as a priestess of the ancient dragon cult. It would appear the dragon priestess has also given herself a more human form in order to speak with us. And now we have an idea of what Lanciax may have looked like before she reverted back to being an ancient dragon. If we speak with her again, she can tell us of Bayle the Dread.
Time long past, Bayle turned upon the Dragon Lord. The foul traitor assailed our master and inflicted a grievous wound, only to make a hasty retreat, becoming a sworn enemy of the brood. Since that day, Bayle and his bloodline, the Drakes, have served as sacrifices for Dragon Communion, land-bound warrior. My lord, Florissax, has shown your kind what must be done. Seek communion. Sate your boundless appetite. Feel the euphoria of a dragon's essence taking root in your meager frame.
This has some interesting implications, because it would mean Dragon Communion predates the ancient dragon cult, meaning that the people of the Lands Between were already working on behalf of the ancient dragons when they attacked Leyndell. However, it's important to note that not only humans were capable of communion, as we do fight Magma Wyrm Theodorix, who was previously a troll warrior. Perhaps this power of Dragon Communion was used as part of the conversation Godwyn had with Florissax to win his friendship after their battle. It seems as though the priestess's use for us begins and ends with our ability to kill Bayle and devour his heart, just as the Drake Knights do. And if we ask her about one of their order, she will share her thoughts. Should we want to know more about Egon, she tells us.
Remember that name well. The broken Drake warrior, driven by bottomless hunger and fiery ambition. Precisely what the Dragon Lord envisaged for men who partake in Dragon Communion. The mad hunger and fierceness of spirit that only flows from those young and short of sight. He rather reminds me of Bayle. In fact, such thoughts are unfathomable to ones as old as we.
This dragon woman seems to know more than she's letting on about communion as a whole, and has a working knowledge of the living Drake Knights. Unfortunately, if we then proceed to do as she requests and defeat Bayle, these mysteries are forever out of our reach, only partially answered by an item found upon returning to the altar, the Priestess Heart. The stone heart of a Dragon Communion Priestess, used while disrobed to turn one's flesh into an ancient dragon. The change cannot be undone except by death. Using this heart while transformed temporarily boosts incantations of the capital's ancient dragon cult. The priestess was once an ancient dragon herself, but sacrificed that form for feeble flesh to aid in the destruction of Bayle the Dread. Much like we know of Lanciax, who took human form to share her knowledge with the ancient dragon cult, this priestess took human form in order to dedicate herself to the destruction of Bayle. This would be the end of the road for our quest. However, there is a way we can learn more about who this dragon is, and it's done with a little help from our friend, Teolier. Assuming you were able to start Teolier's quest before Kindly Mikola shattered his own Great Rune, you should have acquired Teolier's concoction. A condensed somniferous elixir, purported to be capable of putting even an ancient dragon to sleep. For an ordinary mortal, A single sip would assuredly result in swift and certain death. Tillier thought of St. Trina's sleep when he created this, but the ebony sleep he concocted had not the sweetness of nectar, nor the gentleness of rest's embrace. It's important that it calls out the capability to put an ancient dragon to sleep, as if we speak with the ancient dragon priestess at night, we can learn something interesting.
My dear Lord Florissax, tonight, like every night, my solace is yours. May it grant you sleep in your place beyond time.
It would seem that she offers up her sleep to her lord at night, which perhaps helps Florissax with his slumber beyond time. So what would happen if we were to put her to sleep, breaking that connection? It turns out that if we do, after defeating Bayle, the priestess will be standing at her station, distressed at the fact that she succumbed to the allure of sweet slumber. Speak with her again when we return from the battle, and she says,
I have broken my pledge. I succumbed to the deep slumber that was meant for my lord. It was a craven act of a foul and lowly beast. Forgive me, good warrior. My lord will no longer look upon me. I have fallen from grace. An old dragon, no longer. Go on. Leave me be. Finally, our wish is granted. Our dream, long yearned for, has come to pass. My lord was blessed with great insight. He saw in the insatiable hunger and fierce spirit of man the very things that would fell Bayle, our wretched nemesis. Warrior, you soar with the strength of dragons, whereas I am fallen. Leave me be.
During this conversation, we'll be granted an incantation and learn this dragon's name, Florissax. We could do as she asks, leave this Dragon Communion Priestess to wallow in her self-pity, a prison of our making. But we also have the choice to confess our grievous crime.
The truth. Never in all my years. How could you inflict such cruelty? No, that is not for me to judge. Whatever your hand in it, it was I who succumbed to the sweetness of slumber. The fault lies with me. I may be fallen, but I need not surrender my honor. On second thought, I believe you do owe me something for the transgression. On a mere whim, you've stripped me of my one and only law. As such, I require another. You. One day, may you become a dragon whole, a lord of your own making. Lead me, and I will follow, my good lord.
She will then fade away with the breeze, turning herself to spirit ash, that she might better serve us upon our quest to become Elden Lord. The ashes themselves and her incantation provide even more background on the Dragon Communion Priestess. The Dragon Bolt of Florissax tells us it is the special incantation of the ancient dragon Florissax. There was a time when the priestess never knew love, and thus never used this incantation herself. Love, it seems, is a human concept, not known to most dragons, which makes Lanciax's love for Vike all the more rare and magnificent. The ancient dragon Florissax ashes tell us, Florissax assumed this spirit form to offer her service to a new lord. Long ago, Florissax assumed human form to share dragon communion with the world. Now she has acquired a human heart. It seems that by taking her place as vassal to a human lord, Florissax now has a human heart, one capable of loving us. Using the incantation unique to only her for the first time in her life, for our sake. What's more interesting is that we now know that it was Florissax herself who brought Dragon Communion to the masses. She was the catalyst for so many who fell to the appetite for power that came with consuming a dragon's heart. I'd be interested in knowing if after she comes to serve us, she still wants us to consume the heart of Bayle the Dread. For as we know, if we do this, we're destined to succumb to his flames sooner or later. A fate we doubt our new vassal would be very pleased with, after we severed her connection to her previous lord. Florissax, the priestess of Dragon Communion, deliverer of this practice to the lands between, spent more years than we can possibly know, standing beside her altar, sacrificing her sleep to her lord, leading warriors to their death with stories of ultimate power, only attainable through the slaying of Bayle the Dread. Her ultimate mission was always to avenge the grievous injury inflicted upon her lord by this loathsome drake. Truly one of the most devout undertakings. She spent every single night offering up her sleep to a lord beyond time, desperately in need of rest. Unfortunately for Florissax, our tarnished is nothing if not curious, and we can't pass up the opportunity to see what every item in our inventory can truly do. On a whim, she was put to sleep and disowned by Florissax, and she inexplicably chooses to follow us. Perhaps because she spent so long serving a lord, she doesn't know what to do without one, and so her story ends as naught but spirit ash for us to use at our discretion. Her single incantation bestowed upon her new lord, one that allowed her to feel the love oft known to humans. Who's to say if this is a good or bad outcome? But this servant will continue to serve, for as long as we will have her. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Elden Lore. Did you enjoy our deep dive into Florissax, the ancient dragon and priestess of Dragon Communion? Do you believe Florissax acted of her own accord when bringing Dragon Communion to the lands between? Did Florissax actually sever ties with her over sleeping, or is this something she assumes to be true? Does she know that Dragon Communion is now considered ruinous in the lands between? She's been trapped longer than we can know in the Land of Shadow, so perhaps she has no idea that her Drake Knights have been becoming magma worms. Let us know your thoughts and theories in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and set notifications to all, so you never miss out on any of our lore dives. Thanks again to neonscience.com for sponsoring this week's video.
And don't forget to check them out.
We look forward to seeing you again for more Elden Lore.